Do you remember when I told you about those deleted Toy Story treats from 1996? There are similarities to Toy Story 2 Interstitials. If you're not aware of what they are, Pixar animated Toy Story 2 Interstitials for ABC in 2000 to make way for a commercial break in the US. They were even put on the Maynard Toy Richmond DVD, and a few of the interstitials were even reused for the 2005 Toy Story and Toy Story 2 DVDs. This is not what I'm discussing at the moment. I'm discussing about awful animations I have seen. It was a sunny afternoon, and I was with my mom at a bakery. I paid for a cupcake and a caramel-flavored milk. As I walked out the bakery with her, I realized the box against a nearby pole. Once I picked it up, it read, "Only for the strong." That marking made me confused. What does it mean, only for the strong? I asked in my mind. I had to go home before I opened it. When my mom and I got back home, I grabbed a pair of scissors to cut the tape off the box. Once I opened up the box, it was a Toy Story 2 DVD. Surprisingly enough, it was a collection of every single interstitial shown on ABC. The DVD depicted of Woody, Buzz, Potato Head, and Jessie, who never appeared in any of these interstitials, in the story wallpaper background. The DVD's release date was even December 5th, 2001. But on the opposite corner, there was a circle of a caption saying, "Includes private narrative for scene interstitials." I was determined to watch it and add it to my DVD collection. I began to watch it on my portable DVD player. It abruptly took me to a title card, the entire Toy Story 2 cast with a caption beneath them reading, "Every Toy Story 2 interstitial." Oh boy, this is where the fun begins, I said, smiling. I watched every single interstitial starting with Monday Night Football and finishing with the Aliens Billionaire Show interstitial. Even though the interstitials were good to watch, those last five interstitials weren't. A warning screen came up on the screen. The following five interstitials you're about to see are not, repeat, not eligible to be viewed by children with sensitive issues. Please watch if you have courage to. I have a bad feeling about this, I said to myself. The first interstitial started. It featured Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head on a metal bench in the dark. They were looking worried at something off screen. I didn't know what they were looking at. I can hear faint sizzling. Mr. Potato Head began to whimper and said, "Well, it's the end for us, honey." Mrs. Potato Head held on to her husband whimpered in fear. "Sweetheart, I'm scared. We're only toys, not animals." At that moment, a human's hand was shown, holding a rolling pin, and that pushed both the potato heads into what appeared to be a deep fryer. Once they fell in, Mr. and Miss Potato Head screamed as they were being fried in the said fryer. The screaming went on for 15 seconds. I began to have lots of chills in my spine seeing that horrible scene. What am I seeing right now? What? And that cut to that same pair of hands grabbing the fryer, draining all the excess out, then shredding the potato head's fried bodies and making out his french fries. And that cut to a shot of a human's mouth eating the potato heads, lips smiling with glee, while the ABC logo dropped down in a red background. I was appalled. At least it wasn't gory, but that interstitial was really terrifying for the realistic screams of the potato heads. The second interstitial started. It showed a shot of Jessie playing tag with an alien and a bullseye. Somehow Jessie never appeared in interstitials, but I was surprised to see her in this one. "Tag, you're it!" Jessie teased as she tapped Bullseye on the rear before blowing a raspberry at him and darting off. The part where she blew a raspberry was similar to that scene from the Powerpuff Girls movie where Blossom blows a raspberry at Bubbles after tagging her. Bullseye then chased after Jessie and the alien. Jessie evaded Bullseye out around the room, dodging every move from him. At that moment, Jessie climbed onto Andy's desk to avoid him. At that moment, she noticed Bullseye was running up to her very fast. Bullseye couldn't stop running at the right moment and he bumped into her, and the duo began falling out the window. The pair hit the ground. Jessie got back up, putting her hat back on. At this moment, they heard growling. Jessie began to get scared. "Bullseye, what is that?" Jessie asked in fear. Bullseye then noticed rustling inside of a bush. The rustling was getting louder and louder until a white bull terrier lunged out of the bush. It was Sid's dog Scud from the first Toy Story movie. Jesse screamed in shock after seeing that vicious dog. Scud then gnawed his teeth on the bullseye, and Jesse began shaking his head around violently, attempting to cheer them apart. Jesse let out a realistic, blood-curdling scream as she was being mauled by Scud, while Bullseye brayed very loudly. Jesse's screaming continued as Scud dropped Bullseye, who had lost all four of his legs and head. Just then, Scud threw Jesse against the wall. This scene shocked me. Jesse lost both her arms. "Oh God, how horrible," I whispered. Jesse breathed and cried in fear as Scud seriously approached her. He then threw his head towards Jesse and bit her head off, destroying her. At the moment, the ABC logo dropped down over the background. I was utterly speechless. I could not believe Jesse just encountered Sid's dog. I dropped my remote and shook with a dropped jaw. What kind of shit like this exists? The third interstitial then began. It showed Buzz Lightyear finding Zurg on top of the elevator. After being hit in the face by three discs, Zurg became infuriated as he proceeded to pick up Buzz by the neck to strangle him. Buzz began to choke as Zurg was throttling him. At this moment, Buzz's suit began to get slowly condensed and red and black. He pointed his laser at Zurg and shot half of Zurg's face off. Zurg began to speak, but his voice box was distorted. "Lightyear, what happened to you?" "You're finished, Zurg. You are finished." Buzz, the voice of Patrick Fraley, confronted, narrowing his eyes, pointing his laser at him. Just then, Buzz shot Zurg again, and he blew up to pieces of black and red lights illuminated around them. Buzz then turned around and faced the audience as his eyes glowed in a shade of bright red. "You're watching ABC. We'll be right back." The ABC logo dropped down again, but in green. What was that? I questioned myself, demanding an answer. It was awesome that Buzz defeated Zurg, but he turned to the dark side. No Star Wars reference intended. The fourth interstitial then began. Only two more and this DVD will end. It began with a shot of Innie's desk at dusk. Woody then walked into the shot, looking confused and worried. He picked up a magic 8-ball nearby and spoke into it, but with the voice of Jim Hanks. "Will I go to cowboy camp this year?" He shook the magic 8-ball and regular icosahedron, I don't know how you say that, floated up. The answer read no in uppercase. "What?" Woody asked in shock and anger at the same time. Just then, Sid's laughter was heard from the window. Woody stood up to look outside the window to check if he was outside. At that moment, the magic 8-ball rolled by itself and knocked the red lamp. The lamp swung clockwise and knocked Woody in the face, sending him falling out the window, so it had Buzz fell out of the window. Woody let out the howly/gut-wrenching scream as he fell, before he hit the ground nearly hard. He got back up on his feet and put his hat back on. After 4 seconds, a human's hand grabbed his boot and picked him up in the air upside down. The human was no other than Sid from the first movie, but with the 1999 animation with a model similar to Andy's. "Hello, cowboy," said Sid with a grin on his face. "Sid?" Woody asked in shock. "Where did you come from?" "Long story. I followed your voice when I was walking for lunch, and I found a good plan to eliminate you and high-tech Buzz Lightyear. Now, since I didn't perform it on you, you and I are going to have a cookout now," Sid monologued before laying out an evil laugh pointing to a red grill already grilling. Woody gasped loudly and exclaimed, "What?" Sid threw Woody to the grill, and the latter began sizzling as his fabric and plastic melted. Woody screamed in so much agony as he was getting burnt alive and destroyed. Right before the ABC logo looking rusted, a bandit dropped down an orange background. "Dear God, what did I see?" I asked. I could not believe that Sid appeared in this interstitial despite not appearing in Toy Story 2. I had to sit for one more interstitial to end the DVD in nightmare already. The last interstitial began with Buzz standing in Andy's room, facing the audience, grimacing. In the background was a music box-like tune of which She Loved Me. In the background I could hear someone, not Sarah McLachlan, slowly singing a lyric sample of a sad song. "Lonely and forgotten, never thought she looked my way. She smiled at me and held me, just like she used to do. Like she loved me, when she loved me." I found the singing voice to be beautiful, but I was already getting chills hearing that line and watching Buzz stare at me. Once the singing was over, Buzz disappeared from the shot. I braced myself for a jump scare, and apparently there was. After 5 seconds, an edited picture of Woody being dragged down the dustbin full of broken toys came up. His skin was gray, his eyes were wholly red, and he was sporting a wide anime-like grin, overlapped with the howling/gut-wrenching scream. That scream scared the living crap out of me. I fell from behind my bed. The DVD finally ended. I was relieved this shit was over, but a caption came up on screen and said, "Animated by M. Kennington in 2000." Kennington? I growled. I knew that bastard made those terrible animations. I told my mom about the DVD and I showed her the evidence. The next day, we contacted Pixar about the DVD and they asked for it back so they can confiscate it. We sent them back the DVD and I stayed up all night the next night. Adam Kennington is a deranged, sick man if you ask me. I am officially appalled of his habits. He made missing THX trailers, deleted scenes of Pixar films, even messed up commercials. Those interstitials came back to haunt me every night.